I started to practice mindfulness through yoga. I started at a yoga studio, and I started to also learn about social justice and the impact of some of these stress reactions are part of what happens through racism and gender oppression and some of the ways in which people are oppressed in life. So there's some folks in ethnic studies and in women, gender, sexuality studies here on campus that really helped me find some readings and really get into the literature on Latina feminist epistemologies, which really spoke to me. And so, and the Latina feminist scholars do write about different contemplative practices, different ways that they have with tuning into their bodies, tuning into their interaction with the world, their interaction with people, their interaction with relationships and families, and their interaction with nature. So nature can be really helpful for mindfulness. We tend to have a really individualistic approach that comes from what we've learned in society. And so this idea that we're not alone is really important, that we're interrelated to this chain of different living beings can be really helpful. I mean, and actually, I think that it sometimes can combat loneliness. Sometimes if I'm like feeling a little lonely or something, I can actually go out into nature and be like, oh my gosh, I am just one living being amongst all of, the trees and the birds and, the water flowing. We'd love to expand the concepts on mindfulness and social justice education. There are 8 sections now of this social justice course that has mindfulness in it. For a lot of the white students and newer beginner students in social justice education, it's often their emotions like guilt and shame and sometimes like rejection. It's hard to deal with that, and so the mindfulness can actually be really helpful for like recognizing, oh, I'm feeling really ashamed right now, or I'm feeling really guilty right now, or I'm feeling paralyzed and immobilized because there are so many problems, I don't know what to do with it. And so the mindfulness actually can really help to tune into those emotions. And over time, and again, this happens over 10 weeks. The curriculum is 10 weeks long. Over time, by practicing mindfulness, it becomes more automatic, and then that allows you to then move forward, right? So you're not stuck. And so we are sort of focusing on the different groups of students in these classes, and future work will actually explore the different ways in which different students tune into their body. I'm really interested in the body and the emotions part of it. There's a weekly practice of mindfulness, but over time it's wonderful because the students actually start to tell me that, regardless of the weekly required mindfulness practice, they're starting to do it in the rest of their lives. They're starting to be like, oh, I had this thing happen to me and I remembered, stop and take a breath. And then they do that, and they remember to take breaths. They remember to tune in, and then remarkable things happen. They gain awareness and clarity about what's going on. They are able to have choices. So then you have choices, right? If you're not just sort of in this pattern response, this reactive response, then when you recognize what's going on with you and some awareness of your inner self, you have choices about how to react and how to respond to something.